Now, we have talked about XBRL in world side, and I have also touched upon on a very simple manner that how it works. Now, why we have to talk about XBRL in India? Whether it is really required for us to talk on this particular topic in India? Yes, it becomes an important topic to be dealt with by every professionals who is practicing as a chartered accountant, because from 2010-11 accounting period onwards, there was a guidance which has been issued as a phase 1 roadmap for XBRL in the Indian perspective. All the listed companies, first point is all the listed companies should file their financial statement in XBRL format with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay, we have covered the listed companies. They have also covered the subsidiaries of all the listed companies in the first phase. Okay, listed companies means parent company which is listed and the subsidiary of the parent company which is listed, it's covered. You may ask a question, what will happen if my company is not a listed company? It's an unlisted company. It may be a private limited company, or it may be a closely held public limited company. Whether I should file my return in XBRL format with Ministry of Corporate Affairs? The answer could be yes, provided because there is a economic threshold limit which has been fixed, one based on the capital of the company, paid up capital of the company, and other based on the turnover of the company. What you are seeing on the monitor is basically the paid up capital if it is equivalent to or more than 5 crore. Normally we used to hear the word more than 5 crore, but in this case please see that the words used is rupees 5 crore or more. So it's equivalent to 5 crore or more if it is the paid up capital. That company, whether it is listed or unlisted or it's a private limited company, should file its returns with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs by means of XBRL format. The same way, if maybe the paid up capital may be less than 5 crore, but the turnover is equivalent to 100 or more than 100 crore, even in that case, it will be covered. And the words used is not and, the words used is are. And accordingly, even if one condition is satisfied, that company will automatically get covered by means of the mandatory provisions for filing its financial statement in XBRL format with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And another point which I wanted to tell you is that when the phase 1 has been planned, there are some exemptions which has been given. Banking companies, insurance companies, and power companies and non-banking financial companies and overseas subsidiaries of these companies are excluded from filing their returns in XBRL format. But what I wanted to actually add to the information which we were seeing on the screen is that apart from that, we should also understand that what is the other aspects which we should talk about on XBRL filing in Indian's perspective. My interest is to draw your attention to clause 52 of the equity listing agreement of SEBI, which has actually made this XBRL in a different perspective from 2008 onwards. It is not actually, they have used the word XBRL, but they have used a different concept called corporate filing and dissemination system. It is an XBRL enabled format in which they have actually asked the companies by means of the listing agreement to file certain forms in that format. So SEBI was almost having this for listed companies even before we are talking about the filing of XBRL format with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs from 2010-11 onwards. The same way, Reserve Bank of India has actually set up a high-level committee in 2007 which has actually started a pilot project of identifying what could be the situation of banks when they are moving for filing the returns in machine readable format. In fact, they are also trying to adopt the XBRL data submission, XBRL based data submission format for various purposes. In the first phase, they are actually looking for Basel II and RCA 2 format. So not only the companies, for the purpose of filing their financial statement, XBRL based filing system or data format is actually in use even before 2008, where this has been made mandatory on various counts by the companies. So as my fellow professionals will appreciate that when something is already there and we have missed the bus, it may be the correct time to actually catch the bus, because there are a lot of professional opportunities coming along with that. Let me just tell you what are the items which we are expected to file on XBRL format under the Indian scenario, based on the criteria which we have talked about: listed companies, subsidiaries of listed companies, companies having a paid up capital of 5 crore or more, or companies having a turnover of 100 crore or more. What they are expected to file in XBRL format is balance sheet and its schedules, statement of profit and loss and its schedules. You may appreciate that I am actually using the word statement of profit and loss, and I am not using the word profit and loss account. If you see as of now what is appearing in the MCA website, we are talking about profit and loss account only. But what I have used statement of profit and loss is because of the introduction of revised schedule 6, where the nomenclature has been changed to statement of profit and loss, and companies have already started adopting revised schedule 6 for the accounting period commencing on or after April 1, 2011. And accordingly, there is a process of bringing the taxonomy as per revised schedule 6, so that people could immediately tag the financial statement items appearing as per the revised schedule 6 when they are filing in XBRL format. The cash flow statements will also get tagged, and it will also be filed in XBRL format. Notes on accounts, and as I have already pointed out, the director's report and auditor's report will also require to be filed in XBRL format. So this is the entire financial report, or maybe I have to say entire annual report of a company will be expected to be filed in the XBRL data format with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in Indian scenario. So what is the process of implementation of this XBRL filing in the Indian perspective is that we will be actually the chartered accountants will not be doing this exercise, because if you see, in every case the preparation and presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of the management, and accordingly even in this case the responsibility of selecting the correct taxonomy, ensuring proper tagging, ensuring that the internal controls with respect to the tagging process, ensuring the completeness of the tagging process, mapping of unmapped items. So all these responsibilities are actually lying with the management. So the CFO or the finance director and his team will normally enter into the process of preparation of the financial statement, and this financial statement will be actually attested. It requires an attest function by chartered accountants. The financial statement in traditional form is attested by the chartered accountants, and either the finance team or the company secretary or his team, or maybe even the chartered accountant, if he has taken this job and on an outsourced basis, will convert the financial statement into an XBRL mode. So once the XBRL mode conversion of the traditional financial statement has happened, this requires a specific attestation that this XBRL financial statement are fairly presented in all material aspects in accordance with the taxonomy provided by MCA. This is the important attest function which has to be performed. And of course, the MCA has not restricted, only the chartered accountant has to do the attest function. And I should caution my fellow professionals that you also have a competition available for you. Company secretaries can attest, cost accountants can attest. So what can differentiate the professionals when you are doing an attach function is a value add which you can actually provide to your client, and you have to think differently, use your professional expertise in actually creating a value add which is going to be the USP for you when you are doing an attach function. Once this attach function has been done, this statement is ready for uploading with the regulator. Okay, so we are going to the next slide, which is actually how the MCA filing is being done. We said that first we tag the financial statement with the taxonomy, the special tagging. If it is required, we will create another tag. Extended tagging will be done, which requires an expert knowledge. After that, we said we will be creating an interface document which is called instance documentation. That instant document will actually validate it by means of a validation tool which is available in the MCA website. This is very important. So once you have created an instant documentation, it cannot be straight away uploaded. But my friends will say that so we have learned all these things in a very simple manner, because we started doing e-filing of income tax returns, and we have actually doing the same process by uploading to a validation tool, file validation utility, which is available with the income tax website. Similar tool which is available with the MCA website, the company can validate the instant documentation for any errors, and once the errors have been corrected, again the validation will be done. Once the document has become an error-free document, this will be pre-scrutiny will be done through the tool, and then it is actually attached to Form 23AC or Form 23ACA as the case may be, and this will actually go along with the form to be filed with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and where we are actually coming into that. That is what we have to actually see in this. See, if you see this particular situation, before this statement is uploaded with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, what is expected or what is mandatory is that it should be certified by a professional, and the certification, in our case, a chartered accountant has to certify that the XBRL format, the XBRL documentation fairly present in all material respects, the audited financial statement of the company in accordance with the XBRL taxonomy as notified under company's filing of documents and forms in extensible business reporting language rules. So if you see that, we are going to certify a statement where we are giving a completeness of the document which is mapped with the financial statement with the XBRL format, and we are going to say that in all material aspect it complies with the requirements of the taxonomy. That's very important. So whatever taxonomy which has been prescribed by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, we are saying that in all material aspects this financial statement is actually complying with that. So what happens if it is not complying with that? So whether we can have a qualification when we are issuing the report, that may be possible with an audit opinion, not with an opinion where you are giving in respect of an XBRL attestation, because when you are uploading a transaction, you are actually doing two validations. One validation is done as soon as the instant documentation has been prepared. After that instant documentation has been prepared, the errors have been identified, corrected, again another validation has been done, then only it is getting updated, uploaded with the MCA website. When we are talking about that level of validation being performed in respect of XBRL financial statement, whether I can say that it is not complying with the taxonomy on material aspects, because in my view that it may not be possible to say that it may not be complying with the in material aspects the taxonomy. But the problem is whether we have actually applied the procedures to understand that this complies with all the taxonomy requirements in material aspects That is what the requirement to be performed by an audit procedure. When we are doing an audit procedure, if you see that on the bottom of this slide, if you see that I have mentioned very clearly that it is not a simple converting a PDF file from the financial statement which I have attested. So it is like converting the line items with each and every item which is appearing in the taxonomy, including in case if it is required an extended tagging has to be done. So when I am doing this conversion process, it is not exactly a one-to-one matching of the line items. I am actually trying to do that, but I am not doing a one-to-one conversion. And in the process, the data integrity and the data validation, if I am not doing it properly, it is a very, very complex process. So it actually poses me a challenge as a professional when I am doing an attest function for XBRL purposes. That's very important. So let's just see what is the role or the responsibility of the management. As we have mentioned earlier, we are talking about a case of selecting, maintaining and testing the taxonomy. So if a company selects a taxonomy, it should also test whether the taxonomy is actually meets the requirement of the particular industry. So I should select the correct taxonomy. That responsibility is actually lying with the management. The second most important aspect is that the accuracy of mapping and tagging the data elements into XBRL report. So each and every line item mapped accurately, and it is also tagged properly with the XBRL report. And then enforcing the change management procedure in the XBRL process. That's a very important. Whatever happens when we are using a system, change management is becoming a very, very important aspect. So management has to take very, very cautious step and very robust process to ensure that they have proper controls to select the proper taxonomy, tag the proper line items using the XBRL formats, and also have the process inbuilt in the system. But what we do, as we do in a normal traditional financial statement, once the financial statements have been prepared and presented by the management, we actually do an attest function and give an express opinion whether the financial statements are presented. It gives a true and fair view. Instead of using the word true and fair view, here we are using the word whether it's fairly presented in all material aspects according to the taxonomy prescribed or notified by the MCA. So when we are talking about this particular aspect, let me just take you through what are all the challenges as chartered accountants which we will be facing. So one thing is certification of financial statement in XBRL mode for filing with the MCA 21 is made mandatory for all the companies. Naturally, your client will come to you for certification because he feels, he normally believes that the value add which his own chartered accountant can provide will be more helpful for him rather than anything else. So that's one aspect. The second important point which I wanted to tell you is we have a procedure, audit procedure. When we are doing, we have a guidance by means of an auditing standard, but we don't have any current auditing standard which gives us a guidance on how we have to perform procedures for the purpose of auditing XBRL data as part of the audit of financial statement. We have one auditing standard called SA 720, but that SA 720, when it says other information attached to the financial statement, the other information is not actually including XBRL data. This is the level of situation which we are having as of now. So what has happened in the interim is that we have actually got the guidance note on how we will do the audit of a financial statement. What we will do is we will have a short break and then we will recommence the proceedings along with the auditor's responsibility, and then we will move on to the technical side where I have my friend who will be taking you through on the XBRL processing, how it works on a technological side. Thank you very much. Please be on the line. Welcome back to this teleconference on XBRL and Revised Schedule 6 hosted by the CPE Committee of ICAI. I'm having with me Vijay Shawnee, Director of WEBTEL ElectrosOFT PVT Limited. Welcome Vijay.
Thank you
For this program, and thank you for giving the opportunity of interacting with you on a technical basis, so that we will have more idea about how we can excel in doing this work on a professional basis. So thank you very much for being with us.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have to cover the aspect of the auditor's perspective when we are actually doing the XBRL, which we were actually discussing. And just to recap what we have discussed, we said that there is a need for attest function to be performed by the professionals on a financial statement to be hosted in the website of MCA. For doing that attest function, whether we as an auditor have some audit procedures to be performed, yes, we have to do some audit procedures to perform. Whether we have a guidance to do it by means of any auditing standard, we have seen that there is no specific auditing standard which prescribes how we have to perform our work and when we are doing an attest function for XBRL related filing. But at the same time, we also discussed about SA 720, which is talking about whether the words other information, which is attached to a financial statement, will cover the XBRL financial statement. We have concluded that other information is not relating to what we are talking about in XBRL format. So that is not also covered. So we were left in a situation where we have to do attest function, but we don't have a proper auditing standard existing for a while. But fortunately, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, with the help of the Auditing and Assurance Standard Board, came out with a very nice and elaborate guidance note on how the auditor can perform the audit procedures when they are doing an attest function in a XBRL format. So let me just take you through the two more slides on what is the audit procedure you are expected to perform according to the revised the guidance note issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So if you see the slide on the screen, the thing which we were talking about, the challenges which we are having when we are talking about the XBRL financial filing with the MCA website, is that one thing which you will understand is it is not a verbatim reproduction of the audited financial statement. So audited financial statements are in a different format, and we are tagging and ensuring that everything has been mapped according to the taxonomy. And in the process, some of the items which we are supposed to do may not have been tagged. For example, if I am talking about MCA, as of now, the taxonomy which has been permitted, it doesn't allow for an extension tagging. We have discussed what is the extension tagging. If I am mapping all the financial line items in the financial statement with the taxonomy, and certain line items I am having in the financial statement, but equivalent tagging could not be possible because the taxonomy is not having a line item there, those items are left in the financial statement as unmapped. That unmapped items has to be tagged again, for which we have to actually create an additional tag. That additional tag is what we are talking about, extended tagging. But as of now, MCA taxonomy was not permitting that particular scenario, and they are in the process of actually implementing or allowing the extension tagging also for the financial statement. When all these things is not possible, when I have to map certain things which is not possible, and if I have to certify that on all material aspects, I have taken care of the compliance with the taxonomy provided. What is very, very important and what is the foundation of all our auditing procedures is use your professional judgment throughout the exercise of your performing the attest function for XBRL format. Next. So you will also understand from this slide that minimum procedures at least has to be required to be performed. That minimum procedure gives a threat to us by saying that you are almost like revalidating the entire information which with the use of the MCA tool as well as the XBRL reader. So that means you should possess a technical expertise. And what we are actually talking about is that we are normally a traditional accountant and not an IT expert. And when we are not an IT expert and we are expected to understand the IT area also, it poses further challenge for us. And can I ask another question? When we are talking about the expert knowledge which is required, I'm saying that I'm not an expert, but I can rely on the work of another expert because it's permitted in one of the auditing standard, whether I can rely on the expert opinion, and based on which I can frame my audit opinion or attest opinion for the purpose of XBRL. The answer is no. So you cannot outsource your work to other person, and ultimately you are owning the overall responsibility for any opinion which you are giving for XBRL, and accordingly relying on the work of another expert may not be the appropriate possibility for you to do this activity. Another point which I wanted to actually take you through is that we are talking about whether the work has to be performed by the statutory auditor or any other auditor can perform the XBRL filing. This is where I wanted to tell you that the real professional opportunity is available for every chartered accountant who is in practice, because in some cases there could be a thin line of difference between conflict of interest or independence of an auditor vis-a-vis preparation or converting the data for the purpose of XBRL format, and many firms, if based on their own internal code of conduct, may think that this cannot be performed for my audit client. If that decision is being done based on the conflict of interest, so naturally the work will flow to another chartered accountant firm. It will flow to another firm or maybe another chartered accountant based on the competitive edge which you can actually have. What is the competitive edge? One is, maybe I can say the pricing will be one of the factor, but what is the expert knowledge which you are demonstrating in performing this activity is what is very, very important. That's the reason why we cannot sit back and relax and say that we are chartered accountant, we understood the accounting framework, we understood the taxation laws, and we can survive with that in the practicing field. As of now, it is not the ultimate solution. What I believe is that we have to start learning further and further, and in this process I believe that a program like this by the CPE committee in the emerging topics and current topics where there are a lot of complexities, challenges to the profession has to be dealt with on a regular basis. And a CPE teleconference of this, which will reach each and every remote places where even the professionals could not come and attend a workshop, but they can sit and listen to this particular opportunity of meeting experts like Vijay to have this. I think that again I should thank the CPE committee, its chairman, my good friend Devaraj Reddy, for making this particular topic as a special chosen topic for this current session, and for ensuring that the knowledge goes to each and every professional, even in MUFSL areas. So thank you very much, my friend Devaraj Reddy, for giving me the excellent opportunity, and all the members of the CPE committee.